Welcome to Mecum Presents On the Move, brought to you by State Farm. It's the show geared toward keeping you up to speed with the latest auto news, event coverage, and expert industry insight. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Avery and John Kraman.
Hey, and welcome to another On the Move. We are so glad you've joined us today. My name is Matt Avery. I'm executive producer of The Transmission, and joining me, as always, is co-host John Kraman, lead TV commentator for Mecum Auctions on NBCSN. John, I'm really amped up for today's show. We have a specific theme, and it is Viva Las Vegas. We are turning our attention to the entertainment capital of the world in anticipation of Mecum Auctions being there next week for a live auction. It's so exciting. We've got two great guests tied in closely with the city, starting with a three-time Stanley Cup winning goalie for the Las Vegas Golden Knights, Marc-Andre Fleury. He's going to be coming on to talk about a special vehicle, John, that he has crossing the block, and he's also going to give us some insight into the car culture in the NHL. And then coming up for our segment 3, we are going to be checking in with Brian Yost. He is the COO of the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. He's going to be talking about what has been going on at the convention center in preparation for Mecum Auctions, as well as some exciting projects that they have going on currently in the works.
Can't wait, Matt. But in the meantime, let's take a little look back at a very successful Indianapolis Fall Special, now completed. Very pleased to report, and by the way, hats off once again to the entire Mecum organization for putting together not only a successful auction, we'll get into some numbers here in a moment, but a very safe and enjoyable auction as well. So here are the numbers. You ready for this? 84% sell-through. That is the highest of any auction during calendar year 2020. We sold 543 out of 645 cars consigned for around $12 million in sales. And I'm very proud to say that the top 10 sellers at that auction were about $100,000 or higher. I'm not going to break down all the individual prices. Let's just say it goes from about $100,000 up to almost $200,000 in this particular order. At number 10 was a stunning 70 Mach 1 Super Cobra Jet 428. Number 9 was a 2012 Corvette, but a very special one. It was a 100th anniversary ZR1. Very impressive car. And the C8 Corvette made it into the top 10. In fact, the lot number S101.1 was the only 2020 Corvette we had at the auction. Pretty well loaded car. It was a ceramic matrix color, that off-white gray color with stripes, 2LT, Z51, 100 miles, brought 104,500, by the way. That makes us 7 for 7 for the sale of C8 Corvettes during the last 1, 2, 3 auctions. So obviously the success of that continuing on. We had a 97 resto-modded Land Rover Defender 90. That was incredible. Lot number S118 was a 71 Bronco with a Coyote engine. Also incredible. It's really nice to see some high-end SUVs get some big attention. Number 5, S84, a 69 Camaro Pro Tour. And number 4, S81, 68 Cougar GTE with the factory 427, only 101 built. By the way, that was our number 1 car for hits and visits to our website for folks to take a look at. They're like they're rare cats. Number 3, 63 Corvette split window, a Fuelie in gorgeous silver blue. Number 2, a 70 Chevelle convertible resto mod with an LS3. And European Exotics led the way, F141 2018 Lamborghini Huracan, by the way, top seller at $187,000. So what all this means is not only a successful auction, Matt, but hopefully sets the stage for what we're going to see going into Las Vegas and then into Kansas City. By the way, same weekend as the Gone Farmin' folks in Davenport with vintage tractors and trucks. And then, of course, we finish out 2020 in Houston in early December. So, bottom line, anybody that's interested in consigning a vehicle to these auctions, do not hesitate. Our auctions are successful. We're getting bidders. We've got a whole new wave of absentee bidders, both telephone and internet bidders as well, that have been participating. And just to put an exclamation point to this, Business is good. Join us.
Well, John, as we always do, we never take our eyes off of the Mecum website. We're always looking at what is being consigned. And recently, you and I found some really neat stuff that will be coming to the Las Vegas auction. I'll lead off with one of my recent favorite picks, which is lot number S135. It's a 57 Chevrolet Cameo pickup truck. John, this is a hot hauler with a lot of style. And then this one has got some really nice upgrades. Under the hood, it's got a very modern LS3 crate engine producing around 430 horsepower. It's got tons of aftermarket accessories like a Flowmaster dual exhaust, and I really like it. I can't wait to see it cross the block. What about you? What's catching your eye?
Well, first of all, that is a great pick. I saw that on the Mecum website as well. But, man, I've got to go to the car of my high school dreams. That is a lot number S121 is a 74 Pontiac Trans Am Super Duty 455, one of only 2 years that they made that car, 73 and 74. In 74, power was down from 310 down to 290 horsepower, but still regarded by most folks in the muscle car world as really the end of the line for a true big-inch American V8 performance. 943 were built, 731 with the automatic transmission. This one has its Buccaneer red with the white interior. It's fully restored, and back in 1974, this was the exact car I wanted, so I had to pick that one, man.
Very cool. Well, from classic muscle, let's turn our attention to some electrifying car news from Chevrolet Performance. They have shown off a 1977 K5 Blazer equipped with an electric Connect and Cruise package, or eCrate for short, and I'll explain what's going on here. So at the end of next year, Chevrolet Performance will offer this eCrate, and what it contains are the majority of the electric components found on the Bolt EV. Now, this would give customers the opportunity to retrofit a wide variety of Chevrolet vehicles with a particular focus on classic vehicles with an electric powertrain. So it includes the Bolt's 200 horsepower and 266 pound-feet of torque motor that gets paired to a 4-speed automatic transmission. And then you do need the battery pack. In this case, it's installed in the Blazer's rear cargo area. And then I found this interesting. It does include the regenerative braking aspect of the Bolt as well. Now, Chevrolet has not released any kind of range or pricing yet, but did say that they would utilize a network of certified electric Connect and Cruise installers. And of course, this includes Chevrolet dealers as well as approved aftermarket components. Now, it's interesting because we've seen these types of conversions over the years, but never in any kind of significant quantity. This to me seems like a good first step in changing that, in getting these types of efforts to scale.
I think it's another sign, Matt, as we've talked about so much on the podcast about just how electric is finding its way not only into cars you can buy, but also into a retrofit kit. It's interesting that you mentioned that the regenerative braking that the Bolt has is also incorporated with that kit. And I think that's important because that's where they get, although the range isn't outstanding, it's reasonably well, but that's where extra range comes from. And for those folks that don't know, it's that ability that when the car is under deceleration and under braking, it's using that power to help put battery power back in for extended range. Where you get into a little bit of a situation where you're not taking advantage of that, and this is true with any of these cars that have that, is if you're on the highway for extended periods of times and you're not decelerating and you're not using the brakes. A lot of people have to kind of pull off and drive around city streets a little bit to help get their charge rate back up if they're down. But obviously we'll be taking a look at that as things move forward with this whole electric world. I want to report that Cadillac now joins Porsche with a statement, an official statement. In fact, I got it on an email directly from Cadillac just a few days ago that they are claiming that they will have an all-electric fleet by the year 2030, and that's the same news we reported last week that Porsche has said. So obviously a lot of hopes from some pretty high-end manufacturers that, at least on premium electric cars, they're moving forward.
They are, and as to be expected, the ones that are making it to market are carrying with them hefty premium price tags. You and I were talking recently about the Hummer EV and how when that arrives in showrooms, it will be costing more than 6 figures. So I just have to wonder how long before these EVs that for the time being, are really up in that upper end of the marketplace. How long before they come down in price and really do become mainstream? Now, something that is mainstream is Chrysler's 300. It's a very popular sedan. It's been out there for a long time, but it's one of the last remaining American-made sedans. And John, you recently got the chance to spend quite a lot of time behind the wheel of one. Tell us about your experience.
Well, this is fun because going from the cutting edge of electric propulsion to really an old school platform, the Chrysler 300 has been around in its current configuration since 2011. But they continue to make good improvements to this car, Matt, and thanks to the folks at Avis, I got a very nice upgrade on my rental car to the Indy auction, put about 700 miles on a 2020 Chrysler 300 with the Pentastar V6. It's 292 horsepower, displaces 3.6 liters. You can get a Hemi, too, 363 horsepower, 5.7. But this one was all-wheel drive, which is an option. It also had the big panoramic sunroof. And I was really surprised at just how old school and comfortable this car felt. I mean, it's really a relic from a distant era, but I just got to say, it was a very enjoyable road car. And with a base price of around $30,000, I think in a full-size luxury car, I think they're good value as well.
Mecum Auctions is proud to bring you On the Move with Matt Avery and John Kraman. For more on the world of collector cars, head over to mecum.com. Now let's get back to the show.
We are so excited to have Marc-Andre Fleury joining us. He is a 3-time Stanley Cup winning goalie. He was 5th in NHL history with 466 wins over 16 seasons. He was the number 1 pick in the 2003 NHL draft, playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins before he joined the Vegas Golden Knights in 2017. And he has played in not 1, not 2, but 4 NHL All-Star games, and he has a special vehicle crossing the block at Mecum's Las Vegas auction. Mark, it's so great to talk with you.
Nice talking with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, man, Mark is a real car guy, too. Coming to the Las Vegas auction as lot number F146.1 is his 1972 Chevy Chevelle convertible resto mod. It's got an LS2, that would be the original engine out of an 05 to 07 Corvette. Originally 400 horsepower, now putting out about 500 horsepower. It's an automatic, it's got air conditioning, power steering, Willwood 4-wheel disc brakes. It's gloss black with a black canvas top, cool white stripes, red interior, all rides on 18-inch Riddler wheels. Really looking forward to seeing that there. And Mark, thank you again so much for coming on the show. Really curious to hear your thoughts about what do you consider to be sort of the current state of the car culture in the NHL?
I think it always depends where guys play, which city they live in. Like for us in Vegas, we're lucky, right? So we got the sun every day, and that's why I really enjoy the Chevelle, putting the top down and driving around town. Yeah, I can't say like everybody cares about cars or need a nice car, but there's definitely a lot of guys that enjoy them, and obviously we're very fortunate to be able to treat ourselves with nice cars.
Mark, let's zero in on your interests. What kind of cars or trucks get you excited?
A lot. I feel like I have a hard time keeping cars for too long. I always look up for the next model, right? And right now I put a deposit on the new Tesla Roadster. So hopefully that comes out sooner than later. We're never too sure with them when things comes out, but we're looking forward to get that one.
What kinds of cars have you owned in the last couple of years?
Yeah, in the last few years, I think when I came to Vegas, I had a Ferrari FF. I could set my kids in the back, so that was convenient. And then I got the Lamborghini Huracan Performante. Sorry, this big truck driving by. And also being in Vegas, I got a Jeep too. I just love taking the doors out, taking the top down, and there's a bunch of trails too. You can go in the mountain and rock climbing a bit, so it's been fun too.
What do you see with your fellow competitors in the NHL as any certain themes or categories or types of cars that everybody seems to lean towards? Would you say it's more late model exotic, some expensive loaded up SUVs, sports cars, vintage cars? What do you think?
I haven't seen too many old vintage cars. I think lots of SUVs, because most of these have winter. So I think the G-Wagon's very popular. We have a few in Vegas, but all around the league, you always see those in the parking lot. Or the Caddy Escalade, right? So I think the big trucks are always popular. I think the Raptor too from Florida, I think is always a little bit suited up and stuff. So yeah, I think a lot of guys have pickup trucks, I guess. When obviously when you're in the winter and stuff. But I've seen some if you go to Tampa Bay, maybe a few more Lambo, and there's a nice Rolls Royce in Dallas in the parking lot always. So I guess it depends where you're at.
Mark, you grew up in Canada, and that has me wondering, as a kid, any vehicles that you saw that really stood out to you?
Growing up, I'm just from a small town, but I feel like the cool young adults, a lot of them had Honda Civics, right? And then they would suit them up with wheels, and they were all so loud and trying to lower the body and stuff, right? So I think that's why I kind of started liking cars, and I don't know, looking at them, and I don't know, I just started very young to it. And I always watch Formula One also. I used to more, but there's a French driver, Jacques Villeneuve, that I always like to keep track on, So the racing's been something I always watch too.
Yeah. Mark, what was the first vehicle that you owned?
This one I had when I was in Nova Scotia with my billet. They had a Chrysler dealership. They had an old Chrysler Sebring, a little bit light purple and stuff. So that was nice. So they let me have it for 2 seasons, I think. So that was pretty cool to be able to have my own car and drive around.
So are you currently in the market? You mentioned the Tesla on order, but anything else that you've seen out there on the market that you might want to consider getting in the future? And that could be either something new or it could be a vintage vehicle.
I don't know. I'm always looking, right? But I think I'm really excited about that Tesla, just to see how it drives, how it handles, and I had a good experience with the Chevelle too. So I think down the road, I'd love to explore that road again, and maybe try some other models, or I don't know if you guys have any suggestions of cars that you've tried, or maybe suggest me looking into.
Well, my guess is as you're bringing the 72 Chevelle to the reopening of the Las Vegas Convention Center, been closed since March. Mecum is reopening that with the event. Your car is going to be there, and I'd be curious to get your reaction to anything that might pop up at the auction. And are you going to keep your eyes open there as well, or are you just coming to sell?
Yeah, I've never been to an auction before, so I'm pretty excited to go spend some time there, walk around and look at cars and see how it is. I think it's going to be limited on cars and on people there, but there still should be a great amount of cars too. So always, keep my eyes open. Like I said, I love cars, so you can't. If something gets my heart, then I might have to get it.
Mark, I know you stay busy with your time on the ice and all the games and practices and travel that go with that, but any time recently for some road trips or time in the car with the family?
I didn't do any road trips, but I've been in Vegas during the off season, so the kids love when I take the doors off the Jeeps and the top off too, so we've done some of that and went to the mountains a bit, but I would say that's pretty much the longest drive we've done.
Well, Mark, we really appreciate you coming on, spending a little bit of time with us. Also, really appreciate the fact that you're bringing a lot number F146.1, the 72 Chevelle convertible resto mod. Listeners can go to mecum.com and check that out. And we look forward to seeing you on site at the Las Vegas auction. And thanks again, man, for coming on and spending some time with us today.
No problem. Looking forward to see you there.
Don't adjust that dial. On the Move, we'll be right back. Our program is proudly presented by Mecum Auctions, the world's largest collector car auctions. Now back to Matt and John.
On the phone with us now, special guest, Brian Yost is the Chief Operating Officer for the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. So he's the guy that has been working tirelessly with the Mecum staff for the reopening of the Las Vegas Convention Center, closed, of course, since March, for the Mecum auction. Brian, thank you so much for taking some time this morning, man.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Well, let's begin. We'll cut right to the chase. Obviously, the big news in the Mecum world, and I think the big news in Las Vegas, is Mecum coming to Las Vegas, once again, worth repeating, reopening the convention center after being closed for so long. You were an integral part of that. Was this easy, or was this quite a chore to get this approved?
Well, I would be lying if I said it was easy. The great news is it was perhaps easier than it would have been with other groups. The fact of the matter is Mecum is an incredible partner to us and has done a great job of building the protocols for safety of the attendees and staff that'll be at the event. And it made it easier when we went through the state hoops to get the approval to hold the event. The fact that Mecum's already had a track record of 3 successful shows this year under COVID restrictions in other destinations. And again, a reference to the great job that's been done by the Mecum team on creating their own protocols. They overlaid nicely with what our governor's expectations are, what the requirements are of both our state business and industry group and our local Southern Nevada Health Department. And it made it, there was a lot of paperwork, but it made it much easier than it might have been with other groups.
And of course, the 3 locations that you're talking about successfully held during the COVID era was Kissimmee, Florida, Indianapolis, and Dallas. Now, of course, coming to Las Vegas. Quite a car town, same obvious location as the big SEMA show. But what do you think that the overall thoughts and buzz about just sort of the folks there in Las Vegas are thinking about not only your convention center reopening, but it's Mecum coming to town with their television show as well?
Well, Mecum certainly holds a place in the hearts of folks here in Las Vegas. It's been coming here a while. There are a lot of auto enthusiasts in town. There are a lot of auto enthusiasts from around the country that enjoy coming to Las Vegas for events like this. You mentioned SEMA. We were sad that SEMA this year has gone virtual with their SEMA 360 platform. Understandably, very difficult to bring what's estimated to be 155,000 people to the destination during these times. But for the first time in their 50-year history, having to cancel the live event. So I think that has built some pent-up demand. I think folks are excited, and I know certainly me and my colleagues and our team at the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority are absolutely ecstatic.
Brian, the Las Vegas Convention Center has been undergoing some pretty massive upgrades and improvements. Can you fill us in what all is taking place?
We have indeed, Matt. So a couple of things. The big things, we are in the final stages of an addition to our campus. Folks who have been longtime Mecum attendees here at the Convention Center may know that we have 3.2 million square feet in our existing campus. We have been working hard for the past 3 years on the addition of a new West Hall. That West Hall, aptly named because it represents the westernmost edge of our campus, will build another, or will add another 1.4 million square feet to our campus. We're expecting that to be done with a temporary certificate of occupancy in the middle of next month and ready for the next group that wants to come in and use it very shortly thereafter. So that's been exciting. It takes our total campus size now to 4.6 million square feet, putting us in the top 3 or 4 in the nation in terms of size. The other big news here, and especially perhaps interesting to car enthusiasts, with a campus that size now, we needed to find a way to get people from the far east end to the new building on the far west end in a way that didn't mean having to walk the roughly 25-minute path in August heat here in Las Vegas. So we have been working with Elon Musk's Boring Company, and the Boring Company has created a set of tunnels that will shuttle passengers in Teslas from, again, the far east end of our campus at the South Hall to the far west end of our campus at the new West Hall, with a stop in the middle. This will be the first commercial application of the combination of the tunnel technology and the Teslas. When the system opens, it will be a driven system, but our expectation and the expectation of the Boring Company is that eventually, once the safety's been proven, that system will become an autonomous system, providing yet again the first, and it being the first application of autonomous technology in moving passengers.
Very cool. Now, Brian, you are in a very unique position. You get to work with some of the major automotive events like Mecum and SEMA. That has me wondering, are you a car enthusiast at all? And if so, what are you driving?
Well, I would be lying if I said that I was an enthusiast to the level of many of the folks who spend days here at SEMA and Mecum. But yeah, I'm a bit of a car guy. I am driving my, over the course of my lifetime, 8th Jeep Wrangler that I also enjoy taking off-road when time permits, and then have a little weekend car in the garage. I have an older Porsche Boxster that gives me a few hours of fun on weekends. So yeah, I guess I'm a bit of a car guy. I certainly, it's certainly a lot more fun walking the floor at Mecum than it is at some of the other events that are held here.
Well, on behalf of all of us at Mecum, Brian, we really appreciate all the efforts that you and your team did to be able to allow us to once again come back to Las Vegas. I got to tell you, it is our honor to be the very first event to be at the reopened Las Vegas Convention Center. And if you'd pass along the sincere appreciation from all of us, and we also appreciate you coming on the show, and we'll be seeing you very soon in Las Vegas.
John, Matt, the appreciation goes both ways. We are absolutely ecstatic to welcome you and the Mecum gang back. We are ecstatic that you are our first show after, what has been several months of darkness here in the convention center. And we appreciate all the efforts that you and the Mecum team have made to ensure a safe event for everybody that's participating. So thank you, and I am looking forward to seeing you both here soon.
You've been listening to Mecum Presents On the Move, brought to you by State Farm. For more information, visit mecum.com. And join us again next time as we take you inside the world of muscle and collector cars and more.